What's up, everybody? Your host of Fit for Life Radio, Gary Diego, here with Will Shively, and we've also been waiting for this moment. Ben is not here.
Damn, that's fucking savage, man.
We've toyed with y'all, but Ben is not here. So he had some car issues, and hopefully we'll have him on next week. So
He'll be back.
car issues. That sounds real suspect, doesn't it?
It does. Like
But luckily, in his place, we have our guest this week is going to be the Andrew Vaught.
Hey guys, what's up?
So, my man Andrew here, I've known him for a few years now, and we are excited to chat with him. He is, well, I'm looking at his Facebook profile right now, so just so y'all can get an idea for the worldliness of Andrew. His Facebook profile, his cover photo is him feeding a lion by hand, like milk or something. Then his profile picture is on stage doing improv, and he is the founder and CEO of Stay Roasted, which we'll let you wonder what that is at first, and then we'll let him tell you. And also, he has lost 125 pounds, and I've seen him in person. This is true. Like, legitly lost that amount of weight, and then he lives lean day to day. He has the hot bod that everyone wants.
Oh, Gary.
So Andrew, you want to go into that a little? You want to break all that down for us real quick?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. Congratulations on the podcast. I think what you guys are doing is, telling people stories, highlighting their struggles, and helping people realize that they're not alone in their fitness journey, I think is super huge. So congrats on that. And I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I think Memphis might have been voted one of the least healthy cities in the nation. And I mean, look, I love everybody in Memphis. My heart's there, but it's not a mecca for fitness. And so I kind of grew up not really educated about nutrition or really, everybody played sports, but I had a tendency to just to be the guy, the kid that was overweight, and I kind of struggle with that, and my whole life. Even up until, maybe even in high school, I leaned out a little bit, just with so much, football and lacrosse and that kind of thing. But man, you get to college, you get married, things just, if you're not educated, you don't know the right steps, or you don't have those around you to help you out, things can get out of control. And that's what happened to me. And then one day, I think I was listening to, or reading rather, a Tim Ferriss blog, and he had just a real simple template for fat loss, which was just some really basic rules for, don't eat. I forget all the rules now, but because I've kind of ventured into other templates. But it was just the idea was that it's whatever you can stick with is what's going to be effective, and it was so simple, I really had no reason not to stick with it. So, some buddies of mine, and we all just kind of committed to it. And then all of a sudden, I lost 60 pounds. And then I was like, wow, I got these really fast results, and it started building some momentum. Then, that got me interested in, how come this worked? And so I kind of, I'm a curious guy, so I wanted to dive in and figure out what in the world was going on. Because they weren't, these weren't big changes. They were just kind of like, okay, you're going to eat some meat and vegetables and maybe some lentils or black beans or something like that for every meal. And you're going to keep the same meals over and over again. And you're not going to drink any calories. And you're going to have one cheat day, just really basic. And man, it worked. And it got me interested in, okay, well, what's this paleo diet, and what's this other diet? And, what are people doing who have already lost their weight, and, what are they eating? So wait, I can have carbs now, and what's the deal with all of that? And so I just became fascinated with it, to be honest. And it just became sort of a part of my lifestyle to make sure that every single day I'm, doing something for my health. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell in terms of fitness and nutrition and losing weight.
Nice. So one thing you mentioned there that I wanted to touch on is, well, for one, you obviously kind of fell in love with the journey, right? Like you almost became fascinated that it was so simple, and what you were actually doing in your day-to-day became more exciting than just losing the weight, kind of, in a way, it seems like.
Yeah, getting that quick win, if you lose 20 pounds and you have everyone around you saying, hey man, wow, they don't recognize you. I mean, 20 pounds is a big, like, noticeable difference when, if you haven't seen somebody in 8 weeks and they've lost 20 pounds, you're going to be like, wow. And then say 40 pounds. I mean, that is a dramatic change for anybody. Even if you're really heavy, it's still really noticeable. And, that's the kind of, that sort of positive, when someone else recognizes your results, that can be really empowering. And I think that was the case for me. And to be honest, this sort of reminds me of something I wanted to share with you guys. I was thinking about it, was, for me at least, and I would assume this happens to a lot of people, one of the things that makes the struggle so difficult in the beginning is your relationship with other people. So, for instance, I would go to work and I would have my prepared meal. I'd have like something super healthy, and I'm like, I'm just going to eat this. I'm on my plan. I'm sticking to it. And then I get that tap on the shoulder. Hey, we're all going out to eat. I'm like, sorry, I can't do that. I got to eat. I'm trying to get healthy here, trying to lose some weight. And then the questions start, right? And then it's, well, come on, you can pick back. There's something healthy to eat, at the restaurant, or there's, you can pick back up on that tomorrow. Just stick that in the fridge. So there's all these little tiny, tugs and pulls by those around you. And look, it's not that they're trying to sabotage your efforts in any way, but they see you doing something different, and they may have questions, or they may, feel differently. So that, to me, I think was, sticking to the plan and sticking to your nutrition and all these things and cooking and all that. That part of it actually came pretty easy to me. The hardest part for me was kind of navigating my circle, my work circle, my social circle, in order to kind of keep myself focused on what I needed to do, which was, stick to the plan.
Yeah, I think that's all, like, the hardest part for a lot of people. Like, they go to work and there's donuts at work, twice a week, and they're sitting right next to them all day. Or everyone's going out to eat, or your friends want to go out on the weekends, and like figuring out how do you navigate through that? How do I still have a social life, while still making change? And I think it's difficult,
Definitely. That actually brings up a story that just kind of locked in my head regarding work. And that was, I'll never forget this. I was sitting at my desk, and a buddy of mine who had the cubicle right across from me walks over, and I think his wife had made these incredible, like, chocolate chip cookies, and he's like, hey man, I wanted to give you this cookie. I thought, like, my wife made them, and they're so good, you have to try it. I'm like, I really appreciate it, but I'm really committed. I'm trying to do my thing here. And he's like, come on man, just take a bite, And I was like, he was legitimately offended that I turned him down for his cookie. And I'm not kidding. Like, he literally just, like, was forcing it on me. I mean, it was the most bizarre thing that I've really ever experienced. I was like, I really appreciate it. I was trying to be as nice as I could. That guy didn't talk to me for the rest of the day.
So at that point, it's obviously, like, not about the cookie, right? It's almost like the whatever inherent nature, like, of to self-sabotage someone almost, like maybe they see you going through the change and they're jealous because they can't or they want to.
In this particular case, the guy he's a lean guy. So, perhaps he just didn't even understand.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm not going to, I give the guy a break, but man, that was just sort of highlighted for me where my struggles actually were. If you kind of dig in, it's not the lack of information. Typically, it's not even necessarily accountability. You might have a great coach, but day to day, when you're kind of cruising around through your normal life, you're gonna bump into folks that are gonna make things harder. More so, I think, than bumping into folks that are gonna make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And like that is what people have to be prepared for, and that's why most people fold up, right? Because that is difficult, And when things get difficult, it's that's when you find out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people do, like, they push you, man. Like, if you go to a family function and, like, your grandma made a pie and she's like, you should have a slice of pie, and you're like, nah, like, I don't want it. Like, they get really offended, like that person did. It's almost like you're telling them that what they're giving you, like, isn't good enough for you, or something like that, And it's like they get, like, deeply offended because they have, like, this emotional attachment to that food that they made. And yeah, like, it's super prevalent. Even just like if you had, like, I don't know, a bag of chips, or somebody did, and they're like, hey, do you want, you should try these chips. You're like, nah, I'm good. And then they get upset. It just is wild because it literally is just some chips. But to them, like, you're doing something different, and I think it, freaks people out sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
And you can touch on this, Andrew. So obviously, like if you have grandma's pie on that day, it's not really gonna hinder you as long as you kind of get back on track the next day with your habits that are supporting your goals. But if you're the type of person to where a bite of that pie will derail you, then you should probably not have grandma's pie that time. And the take I'm getting from you is like that's how you operate, and you were aware of that.
Yeah, especially in the beginning. I firmly believe that you become more mature in your fitness life over time. And so what I mean by that is that back then, when say I'm 80 pounds overweight, clearly I don't have the mindset to kind of confront that situation easily, where we both leave, nobody's feelings get hurt, and I stay on track. I think when you get a little bit further along in your journey, that kind of thing comes pretty naturally. It's like, what, I can have a bite or two. Hell, I might even eat the whole thing. But it's not gonna just say, I'm not gonna feel bad about myself and say, what, that was an awesome pie. Man, like, that was awesome. I hadn't had that in a while. So cool. Now I'm good for a while, and then on you go.
Yeah. That Will, like, what working with clients, like, have you noticed too? Like, I've noticed how, like, people kind of are generally one or the other when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can get it, they can have a little, or they can't. Like, some people do really well with cheat days, and then they can be right back on track, and then some people it turns into cheat months.
Yeah, exactly. No, dude. And then I guess it's oversimplifying to say it's like two types of people, but for the most part it is. A really good example is myself and my girlfriend Whitney. Like, if I have like a cookie, if there's like Chips Ahoy in the house and I have a cookie, like, I want another one, and then I want another one, and then I want another one, right? But she could have one Chips Ahoy cookie. No, you know what? I'll tell you, because she's crazy. She can have half of a Chips Ahoy and be good.
Ooh.
And she could leave them for a full month and not even think about them.
Dude, I can't look at her the same.
Bro, half. She's like the ultimate, like, I just want to taste. And you know what, dude? Like, I admire her for that, because I don't have that in me. But yeah, she'll eat, like, dude, if we got Krispy Kreme donuts, she would eat like a quarter of a donut and then be done. Because she just wanted to taste it.
That's savage.
Which is like, that's really, she has a good control over, like, her hunger and her, emotions with food and all that kind of stuff. Whereas me, like, dude, the moment like the donut touches my mouth, I'm thinking about the other 11 donuts that are in the box.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, and like for me, like I've learned, man, like, dude, having a cheat day or a cheat night isn't really the best thing for me. Like at least having it scheduled, like every Saturday I do this.
Yeah.
Because for me, like it's really hard to not have that flow into Sunday, especially even like I've done this for a while, you know. But then you get to know yourself, and that's just something I know about myself. So, you know, I have to limit that. Some people are great at it. Some people are, you know, they have that self-control or, you know, whatever it may be. I mean, if it's just self-control, but yeah, the ability to do that.
So let's switch gears here a little bit, Andrew. And so obviously, you know, you had your 125-pound weight loss. Now, you know, we always talk about the importance of resistance training, and that's kind of the base. What was your training approach? You know, did you do a ton of cardio? Did you do mostly weights? Did you do jazzercise? What you got going on?
Mostly Zumba and jazzercise. You really nailed it there. I just like the music, to be honest.
Fair. That's fair.
No, you know, I had in high school I played football, played lacrosse. Was no stranger to getting into the weight room. You know, I'd say back then I was probably lifting in a manner where, you know, I was lifting like an idiot, to be quite honest, just doing, you know, crazy bodybuilding, you know, type of, you know, you have to, you know, you start out with flat bench, right? Then you
400 sets.
Yeah, then you move to incline bench. Oh, then you gotta finish off with some flies, and then it's like that whole thing. But you know, even so, it got me used to being in the weight room, got me comfortable in there. You know, I at least for the most part knew the correct form, although, you know, there's always improvement to be had there. But so, you know, as I got older, I always, like, even at my heaviest, I was still going to the gym frequently. So I was still lifting weights. You know, I was still getting in there. You know, I tried doing running. I tried all these things for fat loss. But when it really came down to being serious about fat loss, it was all about the nutrition for me. I kept up with the program I had in terms of just getting into the gym and doing something, right? So just kind of doing having a leg day, having an upper body day, that kind of thing. Back then, I really didn't know a whole lot about training, but, you know, as I began to get leaner, and as I was kind of digging in, like I mentioned before, like really getting fascinated about nutrition and, like, why is this stuff working? I began to take another look at my training program, and so I started, following a program for the first time. So I had just been, kind of free-forming it, like, or improving it. Just I just kind of remembered what I did back in high school, or just watch people in the gym and kind of mimic what they did, as opposed to, having a plan and actually, working a program. And then I started getting, gains there because I was actually following a program and tracking my results. Shocker. So, so that's pretty much it. I just kind of kept up with, in terms of as I was going through the weight loss, starting a fitness program and kind of sticking with that. I would say I was doing a lot more cardio, traditional cardio, in terms of, like, running on a treadmill or doing, like, elliptical machines and these things, but that was probably not helping much at all, other than just wearing me out and causing injury.
Yeah.
So yeah, it over time, and as I got a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit more mature in my fitness life, I began to kind of clean that up. So just doing more things like running hill sprints, and not so much just running on a treadmill for an hour and just dying.
Yeah. And actually, and then as you mentioned that, which it's actually really cool, it dawned on me. So the way we even met, and actually all three of us met, was through finding that community and program to follow, which was through Jay Ferrugia's program on the Renegade Strength Club. And that goes to show too the power of community, you know, kind of in having that, like, that's part of your journey too, right?
Totally. And I would say that one of the biggest takeaways from starting in the Renegade Strength Club and following Jay Ferrugia's programming and just becoming involved in that community was that you gotta trust the expert that you hire. You know, so I considered I hired him as a coach. It's an online community and it's online coaching, but oftentimes we will, or I would, join a program or download a program online and just not follow it, right? And just like self-sabotage. And so one of the things I really learned for me that's really kind of transferred across in other areas of my life is trust in the people that know what in the world they're talking about.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
And just follow it. And that was a struggle for me. And I think that's, for me, it's like, well, I want to think that what I'm doing is the right way because, that makes me feel in control. But that doesn't always serve me. So by kind of, just trusting in the people that you surround yourself with for life advice, business advice, like trust what they're guiding you with, and man, you're gonna see so much quicker results.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think to add on to that, it comes with just like trusting the process, and like people hire a coach or whatever for a reason. Like you clearly like, hey, I need help. But if like you're trying to change, but then you're like so resistant to it, and you're like, I'm not gonna do everything they say. This works a little better. I know myself. I know this is better. And then they're not completely buying into whatever that coach or that advisor or whatever is telling them. They're not going to get the results. You have to be like 100% into the process. And we see that at the gym. The people that buy in and they're just like, hey, I'm going to do exactly what you tell me. I don't know better than you. Just tell me what to do. And then they do it. Like those are the people that get the results. The people that kind of are just like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They might get a little bit better, but they're never going to be that person that makes that transformation. So you really need to, be 100% in and just be ready for the ride. And I think some of that comes with, just being anxious about the unknown. You're not quite sure, and you're almost more comfortable, with the way things are and the way you do it, that you're willing to just kind of stay there rather than, try something new.
Yeah, and I'll say a lot of it too, and knowing Andrew and myself, it's a lot of people think, oh, you only get a coach if you really need help, you're down in the dumps. But it's not that way. Like coaching is an investment, and like you look at someone like Andrew, he has lost 125 pounds. He has an awesome business that most people would love to have, and a lot of people just see that on the surface and think, oh, he's probably just good at everything he tried. But I know Andrew, you hire coaches for your fitness, you hire coaches for your business. I do the same. Like I hire gym coaches for fitness business. Even though I know everything, I still hire a coach to write my workouts because I'll be more accountable, and I always have coaches. And I think a lot of people look at that almost as like, oh, like if they have to have a coach, they're a failure. But that's just not the truth. Like typically anyone, like you look at Olympic athletes and professional athletes, and they all have coaches. Doctors have mentors, and like everyone has a coach, so trying to like do something, change your lifestyle by yourself, like ultimately like you're probably going to fail unless you have that coach or something you're investing in and holding you accountable and preventing you from just drifting.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we all grew up where, if you had a math, you didn't get a math tutor because, you were trying to take your calculus game up a notch. You
Yep.
You got a math tutor because you suck at math, right?
That is true, yeah.
That's fine. So, perhaps, as you get a little bit older and you're like, wow, I need some help on this. It's not out of the realm of possibility that maybe you are being a little down on yourself, like, oh God, I need a coach. That must mean there's something wrong with me, or I'm stupid or something like that. So, to transition over to where it's like, what? There are plenty of other areas where I can apply creativity, but when it comes to things like health and fitness and all these things, it's been figured out. So find someone that you connect with, that you maybe have something in common with, where you kind of speak the same language, and then invest in them and trust them. And you're going to get, way more results than if, you try to go alone at it and reinvent the wheel.
For sure. So
I think here, let me, one more thing to that. I think having a coach is good too, because they're not emotionally like attached to things in your life. Like a lot of times we won't do things because there's an emotional attachment, or we won't change our way. But a coach has like a good, just, they can see from the outside in and say like, hey, you need to do this. And it's way easier for them to make that call than for you to do it personally, because like you have that emotion. And so I think that's a good reason to have a coach, because, they got really nothing invested in your personal life per se. So
yeah, and I think that's a great point. Having a pair of outside kind of fresh eyes on anything, whether it's work you're doing, or your business, or your lifestyle, having that fresh pair of eyes, unbiased, they have nothing else but reason to help you.
Yep.
And so that's key for sure.
Yep. So let's, I mentioned earlier, your profile picture, you're doing improv. So one fun thing I think is really cool is, we talk about, 125 pound weight loss, and everyone wants to lose weight. But ultimately, like, we want to do all that because we want to feel our best and feel confident and have less limitation in life, right? Or hold ourselves back because of low confidence and stuff. So let me ask you this. Like, would the old you have, because getting on stage and doing improv comedy is, that's tough. Like, would the old you have done that? Is that kind of a benefit from your lifestyle change? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. Or rather, not a chance would I have ever done something, get on stage and do, 7 minutes of stand-up comedy in front of a bunch of people. It scares me to death. It still scared me to death. But if you think back about, what is sort of the underlying reason why? And for me, it was, if I'm heavier, I'm self-conscious about how I look, or, especially growing up when you have, people telling you, people bullying you, or saying, commenting about things that at the time you really didn't have any control over. As an adult, we have control over, I would say the likelihood that you're going to have control over your body is a little higher than when you're not in a position to, like, cook your own food and do these things. So, as a kid, you can develop these habits of, like, well, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want people to make fun of me, or I don't want people to judge me, or whatever. And man, that can be difficult to unwind. And so, after the weight loss, a lot of that's still there. That doesn't fix your mindset. It fixes your body, hopefully, but you start to build momentum. You lose the weight, and you're like, wow, all right. But then it's like, whoa, I still have the mindset of that old person. Mm-hmm. And so you have to go out and try new things. You got to, like, put it to the test. Like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to find something that's uncomfortable and I'm going to do it. And, of course, sure enough, you come out the other end and you realize, wow, that really wasn't a huge deal. Like, why was I making this a huge deal? And then maybe you look at somewhere else in your life, like, about being uncomfortable. Maybe it's, talking to a girl, or it's whatever. Maybe it's the relationship with your parents. And what are those areas of life that are uncomfortable that you haven't addressed or you haven't explored? Because at the end of the day, you're going to go chase after that, and you're going to realize it's not as scary as you originally thought, and then it's going to add value to your life. So for me, like with the stand-up, that was just for fun. But the value I got out of that is A, the confidence, and B, man, now every time I go see a stand-up show, I know how hard that is. Like, it is very hard. And, the respect that I have for people that get on stage and are so good at what they do, and the hours and hours it takes to achieve that level of proficiency is mind-boggling. The same could be true with learning an instrument, right? So you go and you pick up the guitar and you take a year, maybe you're taking some lessons, and at the end of the year you can play some tunes on the guitar and you feel great. Then you go to a concert and you see somebody up there just shredding, and you're like, whoa, like I've just spent a whole year learning guitar and I can't even come close to doing that. So not only do you love the music, but there's this other layer of appreciation that you didn't have before. And to me, that I love that. And that's why I kind of get addicted to hobbies, mm-hmm. right? So you go and you go get a camera and start learning photography. And then you see it, a professional photographer's photo and just go, wow, they must have put in the work. And now every time I see great photography, I'm extra appreciative of that. And then, same with fitness. You see somebody who really has, their physique and their lifestyle in check. You can look at them as inspiration. Like, wow, I know that took work. That wasn't just that they were born that way. It took a ton of work. And, that's just kind of a great way to approach life, in my opinion, is go out, do something uncomfortable. You're going to reap benefits you didn't even realize were there.
Yeah, and I was going to hijack your thought there, but you did it for me in saying how, like, a healthy, fit lifestyle, like, that is kind of like guitar, right? And it takes practice and time, and it's a journey, it's just not like a one-day thing. It takes practice and lots of ups and downs,
Definitely. I mean, every time I think I have it all figured out, I'm 10 pounds, I get 10 pounds heavier or something, like, yep. God, I know how to do this. So I don't want to say it's a struggle, because that's negative. It's a journey. And I think actually being okay, if I fluctuate up and down, 10, 15 pounds over the course of the year, just based on my life, like what's going on or the activity or work, like, I'm okay with that. I know that I can get back to where I need to be if I maybe tack on a couple extra pounds, no big deal, right? And
so let's kind of talk about that. Like, when you were, you talked about how when you were losing the weight and you lost 20 pounds, 40 pounds, like, everyone notices, people are commenting, you almost probably get a high from it. So how did you handle then when you kind of eventually settled into your, to your weight in a good place? then all of a sudden you realize you're still putting in the same work, the same effort. Like, it is a lifestyle, but you're not quote unquote progressing anymore. And really, you have to shift to like a maintenance mode, or basically like, hey, like not go back to what I was mode. You know, like how'd you handle that?
Not very well. You know, it's tough, especially, you know, so I did a physique contest with Jay's group, and, you know, you get down, if that's the only, I mean, I was focused on that almost 100%. I mean, I put everything else on the back burner for that, which is not real life. But, man, you get in really great shape. The best shape I'd ever been in, at least in terms of, you know, body composition. And, you know, after it's all over, you go back to, you know, a more normal life, even if that more normal life is really healthy. And all of a sudden those abs that you have are smoothing out a little bit, and then, you know, your mind starts playing tricks on you, and it's tough. For me, it was tough. So I think, you know, people talk about just being comfortable with your body and, you know, appreciating your body and you know, not defining yourself by your physique. And man, that couldn't be more true for me. You know, just being comfortable, but approaching fitness in more of a health, with more of a health kind of approach, and just really maybe cutting myself a little bit of a break, that you don't have to walk around. You know, I don't have to walk around all day long with abs or whatever. I want to be mobile. I want to be active, and I want to be healthy. I want to live a long time, and, you know, that comes first before, you know, getting super shredded or whatever the case may be. However, you know, every now and then, man, it's fun to do that. So yeah, I think it's just like getting yourself into a place where, you know, you can, that, you know, maybe that super shredded or super fit look is maybe just 8 weeks away at all times. For me, that's kind of how I like to do it.
It's really like you're really changing your baseline, you know? Like when you were 125 pounds heavier, like you had a certain baseline of your lifestyle, and then you eventually get down to, you know, 125 pounds lighter. You know, for someone it could be 20 pounds, and then that's your new baseline, and then that you can live with. And then, yeah, you can toe the side, you know, maybe like you toe a little more extreme approach for 6 weeks right before summer or whatever, and back off a little in the winter, and that's okay, you know. Like, that's technically, in my mind, like maintenance, you know. It's just kind of having that baseline that you'll never like go way back from, but you can relax a little, you know. Totally.
I mean, my wife and I bond over awesome food. I mean, that's like that's like my number one hobby, is going out to restaurants and, you know, ordering a ton on the menu, and just not, you know, giving myself a break from kind of, you know, being hardcore about nutrition. Just saying, you know what, I'm going to spend quality time with my wife. We're going to have some nice wine. We're going to eat some food, and I'm just going to not worry about it, at least for like a night, and then just enjoy the moment. And those are the times that, you know, if in the past, especially after I had just, you know, was going through that initial weight loss journey, where I'd get to dinner like that and just feel anxious, and like, is there anything I can eat? And, you know, it's a Wednesday night. My cheat day's not till Sunday, and it's just like you have all these things, and there's just there's a different struggle there too. So, you know, I think just kind of relaxing about the whole thing and just enjoying it, being in the moment. And, you know, it's okay to go enjoy a nice meal, especially if it's, you know, with a loved one, and, you know, kick back. You know, life's short. You want to enjoy time, you know, enjoy your time here. There's a lot that food and can really add. There's a lot of ways that food and you know, wine or beer or whatever it is, like, there's a lot of value that can bring, you know, so long as it's, you know, its place.
Yep. Yeah. Man, Andrew, this has been, I love it, man. Just so much great information, and like, you know, you having your journey, and for our listeners, I think like when you really step back, you see the commonalities, right? Like you had great success in some common themes there were just consistency, community, and perseverance. Like there was no magic exercise or workout. There was no superfood. It was literally just consistency with the basics and time.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, it's it's a journey, like you mentioned, and I'm still on that journey. I might be focusing on different things like mobility and just being, I'm going to be 40 in a couple of years, and I want to be able to hop on the paddleboard, hit the ocean, and just feel like I'm 25.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the goal now, and that journey is going to continue on as I get older, and it may change. So.
Yeah. And real quick, I wanted to talk because I think it's awesome, and I know Will's a big fan of coffee, and everyone listening.
I was just cruising the Instagram, checking out other stuff. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah. So Andrew is the CEO. I don't know if you want people to know you're the CEO though, because then you get all the problems too, right? If they have a missed delivery or something, I don't know.
Comes with the job.
No, but seriously though, he has a company called Stay Roasted, which it's basically, you want to explain it, Andrew?
Yeah, sure. So there's a problem with store-bought coffee. If you're like me, I love food and beverage. I consider myself a foodie. I'm a home cook. I appreciate ingredients. And the problem with coffee is you go to the store, and those bags of coffee sitting on the store shelves, you don't know how long they've been there. And oftentimes, people don't realize that coffee, even whole bean coffee, is a perishable item. Right after it's roasted, there's really only about a 2-week period of time where it's super fresh, at peak freshness, where you're going to get the most flavor out of it when you brew it up. So what we do at Stay Roasted is we are a network of craft coffee roasters from all across the country. So whether that's a small local roaster, in Montana, or out here on the West Coast, there's a ton of awesome, independent craft roasters that take really good. They take really good care at their sourcing. They skillfully roast their beans, so they try to get the coffee to be at its absolute best in terms of flavor potential. And so what we did was we kind of gathered up all these awesome roasters and then stuck them into a single subscription. So, if you come to the site, you put in some basic taste and delivery preferences, and then you just get essentially the local coffee roaster experience delivered right to you. So maybe every 2 weeks you're getting a fresh bag of coffee from a different roaster. It's sent directly from the roaster. And so every time you brew a cup of coffee, you know that it's absolutely the freshest it can be. So that's sort of the model. And, our happiest customers are those that have traditionally bought, Starbucks beans at the store, or they had never really had super fresh coffee before. And so that's really what our mission is to try to get folks to kind of join us in this world of craft coffee. And man, I tell you what, it's made my life so much better as a foodie, where I get to wake up and have this insanely awesome cup of coffee every single morning. And then obviously the convenience factor, everything's kind of going to home delivery these days. So,
Yep.
So yeah, that's the mission. And, we're just excited. We're continuing to evolve. We've got a partnership with generosity.org that we're about to launch, where every bag of coffee delivered through our service will provide a year's worth of fresh water to someone in need. So every single bag gives 1 year fresh water to someone in need, and we're super excited about it.
Man,
that's
I love
awesome.
it.
Yeah. So if someone wants to, so essentially, really, all they have to do if they want to, try out some of the coffee is go to stayroasted.com, and then you said they even will have a little profile they can fill out that will maybe even give them some recommendations, and then they basically pick what they like, and it's delivered to their door.
You got it.
Nice, simple enough. So again, guys, yeah, if you're listening and you like coffee, so that should be everyone listening. go to stayroasted.com. And you can also check them out on Instagram at stayroasted. They got some great footage and everything there. And and when you love it, make sure you tell Andrew how awesome it is. And I think that's about it. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good we covered it. I'm just glad we touched on the coffee because I was going to bring that up at the end because you know how much I enjoy it.
I know. I'm perusing the Instagram now, and you see the where'd it go here? What is it? That dark plasma that looks tantalizing.
I love a good dark plasma.
That's a crowd favorite. Crowd favorite.
I don't know. It's just, and it's in that bag and the little space system there. I need a cup. Well, and I like my coffee black, so I think it's just the whole theme is just super appealing to me.
Yep. No, I agree.
What about you, Andrew?
You know what? The only kind of coffees I don't really mix milk with my coffee, so I'm really like you are, just straight up, black coffee, Americanos. That's my jam.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, Andrew. Well, we'll sign off here, and hopefully you guys took away something to learn from it. And also, we missed Ben. I know all of us missed Ben. We'll get his take on the coffee. We'll go ahead and skip the song of the week just because that's Ben's baby. So
yep. I don't want to try to fill those shoes. So that's a lot to fill.
All right. Well, till next time, guys. Holla back.
Later.
Take care, guys. See ya.